Welcome to, I believe it's day 3 of Jedi training, um, where yoga and Star Wars collide. Um, the Force flows through us, connecting all things, binding them, tying them together, much like we imagine all things in the universe, all people are connected to one another, are at their core the same, are connected to the divine in yogic philosophy. Inhale, take a deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. And start to find a more even breath, making your inhales the same length as your exhales, concentrating on your breath. Today, we're going to sort of focus on two separate lessons. First, I want to acknowledge that Star Wars, at its heart, is a story of social change and in pursuit of social justice. The Empire is a pretty obviously human supremacist organization. And also looking at the casting, probably a white supremacist organization. In the Star Wars universe, there routinely is violence against just regular people for hanging out. Droids don't have rights, aliens don't have rights. And at the heart of the story, you see our heroes rising up. So it's a story of hope. It's a story that's appropriate for this week to think about. And it's hopeful that it's such a popular story in American discourse. I also want to talk about mindfulness on a more pleasant note. Mindfulness is the concept of truly being in the moment, not ruminating on the past or existing in our anxieties for the future, but being here in this moment. So, right now, I want you to focus on the feeling of the ground underneath your legs, underneath your sit bones, the feeling of your legs touching each other. Maybe notice the texture of your yoga mat under your feet. Notice if there are any sounds in the room, any smells. Notice the temperature of the air. Notice how your body feels. Are your muscles sore? Are you tired? What emotions are you experiencing? Are you excited to be in yoga? Was it hard to get yourself here? And what's the quality of your mind? What's the quality of your thoughts? Are they fast or slow? Are they busy? Are they scattered? Do they lack focus? And then inhale, open your eyes, raise your arms up overhead, look up between your hands. Exhale, bring your palms to heart center. Set an intention for this practice. For me, my intention will be to be here now, to have my focus in this moment, and to offer up my practice to everyone else in the world, that it be in service. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, twist to the right, lower your left arm behind you. Inhale to lengthen, let your shoulders draw up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Let your right arm come behind you. Inhale up through center. Exhale, drop your right hand down. Reach your left arm overhead, stretching out your left side body. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, drop your left arm down. Reach your right arm overhead, stretching out your right side body. Inhale to center. Exhale, interlace your fingers, send your palms up to the ceiling, let your shoulders come up. Notice how your spine feels. Notice how your body feels as we start to bring movement into the practice. Exhale, bring your hands forward, stretch your arms forward, and then start to curl the spine, tip your pelvis forward, curl your back, stretch out your whole back. Let go of the interlace, bring your fingers behind you, lift your chest, lift your shoulders, lift your gaze toward the ceiling, stretching out your back in the opposite direction. And then bring your hands out in front of you, make a fist, and start to open and shut your fingers rapidly, really opening up your fingertips, really wide triangles of air between your fingers, opening and closing them as fast as you can. You should start to feel your forearms wake up, your wrists wake up. This will help us in our down dogs and our planks. And for any office workers or people who type, this will help strengthen your wrists to alleviate the risk of carpal tunnel. Lift your arms up overhead. Keep going. Notice the pain, but breathe through it. Inhale, exhale, AJ, and drop your arms to the ground. Shake it out. Interlace your hands, roll your wrists around in one direction. And then roll your wrists around in the other direction. And come forward to hands and knees, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. You can pad your knees if you like with a blanket or a towel. And find yourself in tabletop and just notice where your body is right now. Take your right foot back, push into your toes and the ball of your foot, stretch out your toes, lift your heel up, and then exhale, send your heel back, stretch out your calf. Inhale, lift your right foot off the ground, drop your right hip down, reach out through the heel of your foot, and lift your leg a little higher, lifting from your glute. Exhale, bring your knee in. Inhale, lift your knee out to the side, lifting from the right side of your butt. Exhale, straighten your leg if you can. Inhale, bend it, and exhale, bring it back down. Send your left leg behind you, heel up on your toes. Stretch out your toes. Exhale, send your heel toward the ground, stretching out your calf muscle. Inhale, lift your leg. Lift up higher through your glute, drop your left hip bone down. Exhale, bring your knee back towards your right knee, and then inhale, lift your leg up to the side. Hold it here. See if you can stretch out your right leg. Exhale to bend, and then bring it back down. Inhale, drop your belly, look forward, cow pose. Exhale, curl your spine, look towards your knees, cat pose. Inhale, drop your belly, look forward, cow pose. Exhale, look towards your belly, cat pose, and keep going back and forth between those two poses for the next few breaths. And then tuck your toes under, lift up into plank, shift forward so that your shoulders are over your wrists. Lengthen out your neck, push the ground away, and just hold here in plank. Now, plank is sometimes unpleasant. But see if you can just stay here in the moment in that unpleasantness. Yoda says of Luke, always looking toward the future, this one. Never his mind on where he is, what he was doing. So you want to stay in the moment, even when it's difficult. And then bend your elbows, bring them back towards your side, lower all the way to the ground. Rest your forehead. Inhale, push the ground away, look forward, lengthen your spine, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale, tuck your toes, push up through plank, lift your hips high, stretch out your arms long, downward facing dog. Take a moment in down dog to walk your dog, bend one knee, then the other. Maybe bend both knees, push the ground further away, lengthen your arms, find a long straight back in line with your arms. You can curl your armpits towards your face. You can lengthen out your trap, pushing the ground further away, and then straighten your legs. You can keep a micro bend in your knees. You can take your feet wider. That'll make it a little easier on your hamstrings. And then inhale, roll forward into plank. Exhale, bend your knees, send your hips back, down dog. Exhale, roll forward into plank. Inhale, roll forward into down dog. Roll forward into plank. Roll back into down dog. And just a few more times. See if you can close your eyes, making it a moving meditation. And then lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward between your hands. Step or hop lightly to the front of the mat, feet parallel. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Close your eyes, return to the intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, plant your palms. Step back to plank. From here, you can lower your knees first if you want. Lower halfway down, untuck your feet, lift up into upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. We're going to do a few more of that sequence just like that. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold, weight toward your toes. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up between your hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up between your hands. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold.
Plant your palms. Step or hop back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Lift up into cobra pose or upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastitihi, return to the intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, fold forward, plant your palms, step or hop back into plank. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step or hop to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Look up between your thumbs. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastitihi, return to the intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up, exhale, forward fold, plant your palms, step back to plank, lower halfway or all the way. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here. You can lower your knees. Send your hips back by your heels. You can bring your knees wide. Send your forehead to the ground. Rest here in child's pose. You can come to child's pose at any point during the practice if you need a break. Bring your mind back to this moment. Notice where you are, how you feel. Inhale, lift up, tabletop. Roll onto your back. Grab your strap. Send your legs overhead. Take your strap around your right foot. Send your left foot down. If you can reach your right toes, we can do that instead, but just make sure that you're not really bringing your back up a ton. I want to keep the alignment here. So if you're lifting up your back, see if you can bring your back down to the ground. Otherwise, just hold on to the strap. Notice that your hips are still in line. And then I want you to activate your left leg. Push into your heel, flex your foot so that your left leg is still active even though it's on the ground. You can take your left arm out to the side for balance and then start to open up your right leg to the right with control. So that control could come from your arm, it can come from your leg. So don't just let it drop down with gravity. We're actively bringing it out. So the leg is doing as much as the arm here. We're not just stretching. So you can take a moment to kind of let the leg go and be like, oh, that's a stretch, and then activate it with your muscle. Then inhale, bring it back up overhead. Bring your left foot up. Switch feet. Drop your right foot down. And then flex your right foot, press into your right heel. Activate your right leg as much as you can. Notice that your left hip is in line with your right. And then exhale, start to bring your left foot to the left. holding it up so it's not just dropping down. You're doing the stretch, but you're also actively holding your leg up. And this is a great place for observation. Just so notice how this pose feels. Notice how you feel steady. Notice what muscles you need to use to keep your leg here. This is all useful information that we can use in standing poses. And then bring your leg back up overhead and drop the strap, drop your leg, rest for a moment. Bring your legs back up to supine tabletop with your knees over your hips. And then take your right knee over your left knee and just cross your legs. And see if you can cross your foot all the way around here. It's easier to do when you're on the ground. And if you know you can't do this in eagle pose, you can just do the one. And then take your arms out in front of you. Lift them up toward the ceiling. And take your right arm, take the elbow outside of your left arm. Bend your arms, bring the back of your hands to touch each other, and then curl them around. Bring the front of your palms to touch each other. And then from here, notice how you feel. Notice if you have the room. See if you can draw your shoulder blades away from each other. Lift up the elbows so they're in line with your shoulders. And then actively push your hands into each other. And don't forget about your legs. Keep activating your legs. And then activate your abs. So draw your belly button toward your spine. You should feel your abs and your low back. And just breathe here in this supine eagle pose, Garandasana. And then unwind, let it go. You can bring your arms out to a T, stretch your legs out in front of you. Breathe here. Bring your legs back up to supine tabletop, knees over hips. And then cross your left knee over your right this time. See if you can go for the double bind just to see how it feels. But if it's very uncomfortable, don't force it and just go back to the regular bind. Lift your arms up in front of you, overhead. Bring your right elbow behind your left elbow behind your right. So your left elbow is closer to your legs. Bend your arms, backs of your hands touch, and then wrap them around again if you can. See if you can get the palms touch. And if all of this seems like super impossible for you and you're like, my arms could never ever do that, just grab onto your shoulders here. So your elbows can be stacked on top of each other and you can hold onto your shoulders, and that's like the first step in the flexibility of this pose. Engage your abs, lift up your elbows, breathe into the pose. And, back to Yoda, always looking forward to the future was Luke, never his mind on where he was. It's really tempting right now to think about how this is going to help later when we're an eagle. And maybe I'll get into it this time, or maybe this will really help. And like that could be true, but try to stay where you are. Try to stay in this pose. And this pose can have its own rewards, its own benefits. And then unwind your arms, stretch out your legs. You can reach your arms up behind you. Draw your knees into your chest, hold on to them, and start to rock back and forth. And see if you can use your momentum to rock all the way up to standing. And if you don't quite get there, that's fine. But we're going to stand up at the front of our mat, reach up overhead, look up, Hands to heart center, samastitihi. Press all four corners of your feet into the ground. Lift up the arches of your feet. Engage your kneecaps. Find a neutral pelvis. Engage your abs. Really strong, active mountain pose. And then sweep your arms up overhead. Draw your arms forward so you're looking up maybe to where the crease of your wall meets your ceiling. And then start to sit back, bend your knees, bring your seat backward, and we're going to come into chair pose. So we, in this class, usually come into chair pose from the ground, so this time we came from standing, so it's a little bit different. You can look down, see if you can take the weight off of your toes. So I always lift up my toes to check to see if I'm doing that. You don't necessarily need to do that as part of the pose, but it really helps me. See if you can draw your knees backwards so you can see your toes. And that can be really hard, but the act of trying to do it will help you get into the pose. And your chest should be light, should be lifted. You can sit a little lower, reach up a little higher. We're just going to be here for another second. And then exhale, stand up, forward fold. You can hang heavy, grab opposite elbows, swing back and forth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms. Step back to plank. Move through your flow. And we'll meet in down dog. And I don't think I've said it yet this class, but if you ever need to skip the flow, the vinyasa, just meet us in down dog. It can be really hard on some people's shoulders and wrists, and it's not necessary to do every time. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, knee to chest. Draw your foot forward, step it between your hands. Drop your left knee down. Lift up, low lunge, engage your low abs. Let your shoulders rise up, look forward. Exhale, drop your hands down. Lift up your knee and lift up into high lunge. Exhale, drop your hands down, plant them, step back to plank, and lift up to down dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, draw your knee forward. Hold here for a second, and then draw your foot forward, place it between your hands. Drop your right knee down, lift up, low lunge. Draw your ribs together so they're not flaring out. Let your arms come up high. Exhale, plant your palms. Lift up your right knee, and then lift up your torso again into high lunge. Feel active in your right leg as well as your left. Exhale, bring your hands to the ground. Plant your fingertips for balance and step your right foot to the front of the mat. Bring your big toes to touch. Leave your heels parted by an inch or two. Fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, sit down low, lift up high. Utkatasana, chair pose, or fierce pose. Draw your hands to heart center, lift your chest toward your hands. Exhale, bring your left elbow outside your right knee. And then use that lever you've just created to twist your chest to the right. Sink your hips a little lower. And if you feel pain in your low back here, come out of the twist slightly. You want to be twisting from your upper back, not your low back. And then come back to center. Exhale, forward fold, plant your palms. Step back to plank. Move through your flow. I'm going to demo coming all the way down to the ground, lifting up to cobra, tucking my toes, pushing up to downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward to the front of the mat. Lift up into crescent lunge. Bring your right arm forward. Send your left arm back. And you should notice maybe that your outer left hip is a little more active here. Just lift it up. Feel active in the back of your right leg. Breathe here. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Lift up to down dog. Lift up your right leg. Exhale, step it forward. Lift back up to crescent lunge. Inhale. Breathe here. Send your left arm forward and your right arm back. Whew. If you lose your balance, it's fine. Just stick with it. Breathe here. Feel your outer hips activating. Inhale, reach your right arm up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Touch the ground with your fingertips. Step your left foot to the top of the mat. Fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your toes together. Exhale, sit your hips low. Lift your arms and your chest high. Utkatasana, fierce pose, chair pose. Bring your hands to heart center. Lift your chest into your hands, opening up your heart center. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your right elbow outside your left knee and use that lever to twist to the left. Breathe here. You can do any arm variation you want in this pose if it's in your practice already. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up overhead. Look up between your hands. Hands to heart center. Samastitihi. Return to the intention. And again, see if we can make this mountain pose active. So push into your pinky toes, your big toe, your heel. Draw up through the center of your foot. Lift up your kneecaps. Squeeze your glutes. Engage your abs. Treat standing like a balancing pose. And then exhale, fold forward, plant your palms, step back to plank, move through your flow, and meet in down dog. Inhale your right leg high, exhale, step it forward, drop your left heel down, lift up into warrior one. From warrior one, open up into warrior two, bringing your left toes to face the long side of the mat. Flip your right arm to face the ceiling. Exhale, hands overhead, reversing your warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Bring your arms in front of you. Bring your right elbow underneath your left. Backs of your palms together. Eagle arms, bring your palms together. Stay here in warrior two. Breathe. On an exhale, reverse your warrior, keeping your arms here. Just tilting your side body, lifting your right shoulder up toward the ceiling, doing a gentle side bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale, arms long. Bring your right arm to your right knee. Bring your left arm overhead. Side angle pose. You can do any arm variation you like, but I'm going to focus on the legs. So engage your left glute to take some of the weight out of your right leg. And then notice that your right knee is tracking over your right toes. You can lift up your right arm to be parallel with your left for more of an ab exercise. And you should also feel your hips activating here to hold yourself up. And then return to warrior two. Straighten your right leg. Bring all 10 toes to face the long edge of the mat. Hands on your hips. Lift up your shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Hips over the line of your heels. Let your head hang heavy. Notice where you are. Notice how your body feels. Does the right side of your body feel different than your left, now that we've only done that sequence on one side? Notice your thoughts. So one way back into mindfulness is if you start thinking about the future, like when are we going to do eagle pose? Just notice, oh, I'm thinking about the future. And suddenly you're back in the moment. You're back in the now. Take your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift up. Reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, turn your left foot to face the short edge of your mat and come into warrior two on your left side. Send your left hand to face the ceiling. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Bring your arms out in front of you, left elbow under right. See if you can wrap your hands around to eagle arms. And again, if this is hard for you, you can just grab your shoulders. And then exhale, reverse your warrior again. Same position with your torso, but eagle arms. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, side angle on the left. And activate both of your hips. Press into the outer right edge of your right foot. Press into the outer left edge of your left foot and feel your outer hips engage, holding your body up. If you want an added ab exercise, you can lift up your left arm to be parallel with your right and keep your torso where it was. And then inhale, back to warrior two, arms overhead. Straighten your left leg. Bring all 10 toes to face the long edge of the mat and then turn them slightly out. Arms stay overhead. Sink down, goddess pose. You can sweep your arms out to the side. Hover here. Straighten your legs. Inhale, look up. Exhale, arms back down to a T, goddess pose. Inhale, look up. Oh man, and I almost forgot. Goddess pose on Star Wars Day is Our Lady of the Galaxy, Leia Organa pose. Inhale, look up. Exhale, Leia pose. Inhale, look up. Exhale, Leia pose. Inhale, look up. Exhale, cartwheel your arms towards your right foot. Come to runner's lunge. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Lower all the way down to the ground. Rest here. Send your arms back by your side, palms face down. And we're going to do locust pose, Salambhasana. Lift up your forehead, your shoulders, your palms. Lift up your feet so that the backs of your feet are facing the ceiling. Breathe here. And then exhale, let it go. Plant your palms. Come back to child's pose. Inhale to tabletop. Tuck your toes. Come to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward. Step your left foot forward to the front of the mat and lift up to mountain pose. Now you can use your strap again. We're going to try two things. So first, lift your right knee up into flamingo. So your right knee is at the height of your right hip, and you can just keep it here. Take your right hand to your right knee. Inhale. Exhale, open your leg out to the side. Inhale, bring it back forward. Exhale, drop it down. Now in mountain pose, engage all four corners of your feet. Draw up the arches of your feet. Engage your kneecaps, your glutes, your abs, shoulders up and back. Good posture. Find a spot to stare at. Shift your weight to your left foot. Lift up your right knee into flamingo. And then either reach down and grab your toes, and you can just stay here, or you can straighten out your leg, or if you know you can't do that, use your strap. Find your spot to stare at. Keep looking at it. Straighten your right leg. Breathe. Exhale, you can bring your right leg out to the side. Breathe here. Engage your outer hips. If you fall out of it, that's fine. Get right back into it. Do or do not, there is no try. It is the action, not the fruit of our actions. Bring your leg back forward. Bend your knee. Set it down. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Move through your flow, or meet us in downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Runner's lunge. Exhale, step your right foot forward. Lift up into mountain pose. Feel steady. Inhale, lift your left knee. Left hand to your left knee. Exhale, open it up to the side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, drop it down. Inhale. Okay, so just take a second, mountain pose. Engage both feet, engage both knees, feel really strong. Find your drishti, the spot you're going to look at on the wall to hold your focus. Now shift your weight to the right. Lift up your left leg. And then either with your hand or your strap, grab your toes. You can straighten your left leg. Once you feel steady, you can bring your leg out to the side. Remember to keep breathing. It does not help you to hold your breath. And then bring your leg back to the front. You can drop your strap, bend your knee, set it down. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Move through your flow. And meet us back in downward facing dog. Breathe in down dog. This is our home base, our resting pose. You can always move to child's pose if you need to take a breath there. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Look forward, runner's lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your left foot forward. Lift up into mountain pose. Sweep your arms up overhead. And then sit back into chair pose, Utkatasana. Shift your weight to your right foot. Bring your arms in front of you. Left elbow over right elbow. Bend your arms, eagle arms. Lift your left leg. Bring your left knee over your right leg. And then sit back down like we're in chair pose. You can lift your elbows up a little higher so they're in line with your shoulders. You can let your shoulder blades come forward. Breathe here. If you fall out of it, come right back into it. Just try again. Be in this moment. Your mind on where you are, on what you are doing. And then the next exhale, you can unwind the arms, uncross the legs, sweep up overhead, look up, fold forward, plant your palms, step back through plank, move through your flow, and then come to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands, runner's lunge. Step your right foot forward. Sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, sit low, lift your chest high. Utkatasana, chair pose. Drop your arms out in front of you. Bring your left elbow under your right. Bend your elbows up. Wait. Nope. Yes. I'm so confused about which side we do. Do the other side. Shift your weight to your right foot. Bring your left leg over. Okay, so that's the side we did before. Bring your right elbow under your left. Bend your arms. Eagle arms or eagle arm alternative. Sit low. Shift your weight to your left foot. Lift your right foot. Cross it over. Knee on top of your left. And sit back. And if you're super flexible, you could definitely wrap your foot around a second time. That is very hard to do, both for flexibility and balance. And it doesn't mean that the pose is better. It just means that's what you're doing. But I wanted to offer that, since I didn't explain it before. If that is in any of your practice, you can definitely do that. And then exhale, unwind your arms, unwind your legs. Sweep your arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Lift up to down dog. Lift up your heels, bend your knees, look forward. Step or hop all the way through to seated. So in seated, I recommend sitting on a prop to elevate your hips slightly. Bring your legs really wide. Lift up your arms overhead. And by really wide, I just mean, as wide as you're comfortable. And then exhale, bring your hands forward, forward fold. Now, you want to lengthen your spine so that you're tipping forward from your hips and keeping your low back straight. But that doesn't mean keeping your head up like this, which is what a lot of people do when you tell them to keep your spine long. So tuck your chin, lower your gaze, let your shoulders round, head hang heavy. And be here now in this moment of rest. Whether your balance poses went well or whether you fell out of them, or whether they seemed impossible or you hated them or whatever. Just, we're not there anymore. We're here in this lovely forward fold. And so see if you can focus on that. Relax your forehead, relax your jaw. And then walk your hands back towards your body, lift up your spine. You can draw your legs together gently. You can bring your feet together, drop your knees out to the side. I like to hold on to my feet here, but you don't have to. You can inhale, lift up your spine, and exhale. You can bend forward, and if that's a lot, you can just stay here in Baddha Konasana or cobbler pose.
You can even fold your feet open like a book a little bit. And then inhale, lift back up, straighten your legs, roll onto your back. You can reach your arms up overhead, long stretch. You can bring your feet toward your knees towards your chest, hug yourself into a ball. And then grab the edges of your feet, roll onto your back, happy baby. See if you can drop your low spine, your lower back to the ground so it's not lifting up here. And then when you're ready, drop your hands to your side, lengthen out your legs. We're going to drop into Shavasana. If you have any props, it can be really nice for your low back just to take a blanket and put it under your knees, or a bolster, or if you have a chair, to lift up your legs onto the chair. And that can bring your low back to the ground and help it relax. If your mind has wandered away, just gently bring it back to this moment, to your body, to your breath, to your awareness of the room. And if you need an object to focus your meditation, you can just watch your breath as it comes in and out of your body. And you can note your thoughts as they go in and out of your mind without holding on to them, without following them, just noticing them and letting them go. And then when you're ready, you can reach your arms up overhead, take a deep inhale, and then exhale. Take your hands behind your head, roll onto one side, and push up gently into a seated position, resting your hands on your knees. Thank you for coming to practice today. Um, thanks for showing up this week. Thank yourself for showing up. And thank you for practicing mindfulness with me and coming to Jedi training. May the Force be with you. Namaste.